Before there were nations, before there were kings, there was only the land between rivers. The Tigris and Euphrates flowed through an empty plain where the sun burned without mercy. This was Mesopotamia, meaning the land between rivers in the ancient Greek language itself. Here, in this unforgiving landscape, humanity would take its first breath as a civilization. Stay with us for 15 minutes as we travel through 5,000 years of human history. This is the entire story of Mesopotamia, from the first cities to the final complete ruins. The place where everything began, where writing was born, where empires rose and fell hard. Around 10,000 BC, the first settlers arrived carrying seeds, tools, and desperate hope. They were farmers fleeing the mountains of Anatolia, searching for fertile ground along rivers. The soil was rich beyond measure, black and deep, fed by annual floods from the far highlands. The water was abundant, flowing endlessly from the north down to the Persian Gulf far below. But the land had no mercy built into its design, no forgiveness for the unprepared at all. Floods came without warning, sweeping away entire villages in a single night of pure terror. Droughts stretched for years, turning fields into cracked wastelands where nothing could grow. Survival required more than strength or courage. It demanded cooperation on a scale unknown. So the settlers did something revolutionary. They built the world's first irrigation canals. They dug channels to move water from the rivers into their fields during the dry months. They constructed levees to hold back the floods when the waters rose too high in spring. They learned to control nature itself, bending the rivers to human will for the first time. In doing so, they invented agriculture on a scale the world had never imagined possible. Villages grew into towns, and towns grew into something new, the world's very first cities. By 4000 BC, those small villages had grown into the first cities humanity had ever known. Uruk rose from the floodplain like a monument to human ambition and collective achievement. 40,000 people lived within its walls, more than had ever gathered in one place before. Mud brick walls 30 feet high encircled temples that reached toward the sky like prayers. The ziggurats gleamed white under the relentless desert sun, visible for miles across flat land. Inside those walls, scribes pressed sharpened reeds into wet clay tablets, creating writing. They invented cuneiform, the world's first written language born from the need to track grain. The birth of recorded history happened here in these humble clay tablets baked hard by fire. Everything we know about the ancient past begins here, in marks pressed into Mesopotamian clay. Uruk was not alone in glory. Dozens of rival cities competed for dominance and mere survival. Lagash, Nippur, Eridu, each city ruled by a priest-king claiming absolute divine right. They competed for water rights, for farmland, for trade routes, for power over their neighbors. Competition bred innovation at a speed the world had never witnessed in its long history. The Sumerians invented the wheel, revolutionizing transportation and pottery production forever. They created the first schools where scribes learned to read and write in formal education. They wrote the first laws, the first maps of the stars, the first mathematical calculations. They divided time into 60-second minutes and 60-minute hours, a system we still use now. They brewed the first beer and wrote poems praising it as a gift from the goddess Ninkasi. They told stories of gods and monsters, writing the Epic of Gilgamesh 37 centuries ago. It is the oldest story ever written, older than the Bible, older than Homer's mighty Iliad. The tale of a king who sought immortality and learned that legacy matters more than life. Mesopotamia was not just the cradle of civilization, it was civilization itself, brilliant raw. The cities grew wealthier, their temples grander, their streets filled with merchants and artisans. But brilliance invites envy from those who have less, and power attracts ambitious conquerors. The Sumerian city-states fought each other for centuries, weakening themselves through conflict. Around 2334 BC, a warrior named Sargon of Akkad looked at these fragmented states and saw weakness. He was born a commoner, a cupbearer to a king, but ambition burned hot within his strong chest. He forged the world's first empire, uniting Mesopotamia under one ruler for the very first time. Sargon's armies swept through Sumer, conquering city after city with bronze weapons and ruthless speed. His empire stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea, controlling all trade routes. For 56 years, Sargon ruled an empire of millions with an iron fist and very cunning mind. He built a new capital at Akkad, whose exact location remains lost to this day, buried deep. But empires built on conquest rarely last beyond the founder's death. Succession is the weakness. After Sargon died, rebellions tore the Akkadian Empire apart within a single short generation. The Gutians invaded from the mountains, bringing chaos and destruction to the fertile plains below. Chaos returned to Mesopotamia as city-states fought each other once more for scraps of power. Famine spread as irrigation systems fell into disrepair, neglected during the devastating wars. Yet Mesopotamia refused to fade or disappear into the desert sands completely and forever. Around 1792 BC, a new power rose in the ancient city of Babylon along the great Euphrates River. With it came a king named Hammurabi, who was not just a conqueror but also a wise lawgiver. Hammurabi spent his first 30 years consolidating power, conquering rival cities one by one. Then he did something revolutionary. He created the world's first comprehensive written legal code. 282 laws carved into black stone for all to see, displayed in the public square. The laws governed theft, marriage, trade, assault, debt, property, rights, and even the price of bread. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Justice brutal and absolute, but entirely consistent. Hammurabi's code established the principle that the law applies to everyone, even the powerful. Babylon became the jewel of Mesopotamia, a city of learning, trade, and breathtaking architecture. Its ziggurat rose 300 feet into the air, visible for miles across the endless flat plain. Scholars studied the movements of planets with precision that would not be matched for millennia. Mathematicians invented algebra-solving equations that still challenge students in classrooms today. Astronomers predicted eclipses, tracked Venus across the sky, and measured the year with accuracy. Babylon thrived as the center of knowledge, wealth, and power for over a full 1,000 long years. Merchants traded with India, Egypt, Anatolia, bringing exotic goods from across the known world. But the land between rivers was cursed with geography that invited invasion from every direction. Mountains to the north and east, deserts to the west and south, all filled with hungry tribes. Around 1200 BC, the Bronze Age collapsed across the entire eastern Mediterranean world. Suddenly, empires fell like dominoes from Greece to Egypt. Their palaces burned, their records lost forever. Sea peoples ravaged the coasts, their origins still a mystery debated by scholars to this very day. Drought starved the cities as crops failed year after year in succession without any relief at all. Mesopotamia fractured once again into warring states fighting over scraps of former glory and power. Then, in 911 BC, a new empire emerged from the north, more terrifying than any empire before it. The Assyrians built their capital at Nineveh, a city protected by walls, so thick chariots raced atop. Their armies wielded iron weapons and siege engines capable of shattering any city's defenses. They were the first true military superpower, their empire stretching from Egypt to distant Persia. The Assyrians ruled through fear and deportation, moving entire populations to break all resistance. They impaled rebels on stakes outside city gates as warnings to others who might dare resist. Their cruelty became legendary, their name synonymous with terror across the entire ancient world. But they were not mindless destroyers. They built the greatest library of the entire ancient world. King Ashurbanipal's library at Nineveh held over 30,000 clay tablets of accumulated knowledge. Scribes copied texts from across the empire, preserving literature that would otherwise be lost. Yet terror is a fragile foundation for any empire. Fear breeds hatred, and hatred breeds revenge. In 612 BC, a coalition of Babylonians and Medes besieged Nineveh and burned it utterly, completely. The Assyrian Empire, seemingly invincible, collapsed within a matter of just a few very short years. Its cities were abandoned to the desert winds, left empty and silent under the merciless burning sun. Its people scattered into history, absorbed by the conquerors, or fleeing into the distant mountains. Babylon rose once more from the ashes, more magnificent than ever before in all its long history. Under Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon became the largest city on earth with 200,000 souls. He built the Ishtar Gate, shining with brilliant blue glazed bricks and golden lions prowling walls. He constructed the legendary Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world entire. Though no trace remains today, ancient writers described terraced gardens rising incredibly high. Water lifted by screw pumps fed trees and flowers imported from across the empire's vast reach. Babylon's walls were massive. Herodotus claimed 4-horse chariots could turn around atop them. The outer walls stretched 11 miles in circumference, protecting a city that glittered like a jewel. For a brief, shining moment, Babylon was the center of the world, the greatest city truly alive. But greatness makes empires targets for those who covet power and wealth beyond their own borders. In 539 BC, Cyrus the Great of Persia marched on Babylon with an army vast as all the visible stars. The city fell without a fight, its gates opened from within by priests tired of harsh Babylonian rule. Mesopotamia became a province of the Persian Empire, its independence lost forever to foreign powers. The age of Mesopotamian dominance was over-ended, not with violence, but with a quiet, sad whimper. The rivers still flowed, but they flowed for foreign masters now, for kings who ruled from Persepolis. Persia fell to Alexander the Great in 331 BC, who died in Babylon planning ambitious new conquests. Alexander's empire shattered after his death, divided by his generals into warring successor kingdoms. The Seleucids took control, then the Parthians, then the Sassanids in endless succession over time. Mesopotamia became a battlefield where empires clashed. Its cities rebuilt and destroyed repeatedly. In 637 AD, Arab armies brought Islam to the region, and Mesopotamia was reborn as the land of Uruk. Baghdad rose in 762 AD as capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, beginning a new, magnificent golden age. For 5 centuries, it was the richest, most advanced city on earth, home to the famous House of Wisdom. Scholars translated Greek philosophy, Persian science, and Indian mathematics into Arabic for all time. Paper mills churned out books, spreading knowledge across the Islamic world, from Spain to Central Asia. The Mongols came in 1258, and they showed no mercy to the jewel of the Islamic world at all. Hulagu Khan's forces sacked Baghdad, slaughtering perhaps 800,000 people in just weeks. The canals that sustained civilization for 5 millennia were deliberately destroyed utterly, completely. The irrigation systems collapsed, and the fields returned to desert dust within a single short generation. The rivers, once controlled by human ingenuity, flooded and shifted their courses back to ancient chaos. The Tigris ran red with blood and black with ink of 100,000 books thrown carelessly in. The land returned to what it had been before the first settlers arrived, empty and utterly merciless. Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, became a graveyard of empires and broken dreams at long last. Today, the ruins of Uruk, Babylon, and Nineveh still stand in the hot Iraqi desert sands slowly. They are half buried in sand, crumbling slowly back into the earth, from which they first slowly rose. Tourists walk through the reconstructed Ishtar Gate, now standing in a museum in Berlin, far Germany. Cuneiform tablets rest in glass cases worldwide, their secrets decoded by patient scholars marveling. Mesopotamia gave us writing, mathematics, law, astronomy, the wheel, and the concept of time and order. It gave us cities and empires, and the stories that would shape every civilization after its long fall. It gave us the very concept of civilization, the idea that humans could build something truly permanent. It gave us the 7-day week, the 60-minute hour, the 360-degree circle we use. Mesopotamia died 1,000 deaths, conquered and burned and buried, again and again through all time. But its legacy never will die as long as humans read and write and count the passing hours of lives. It lives in every law we write, every second. We count every story we tell our own children at night. 5,000 years later, we still walk in the footsteps of the Sumerians, still counting time. Like and subscribe, because the next chapter of human history is just as extraordinary as this one.